Hold on. Okay. Let me see how this look. Ooh,
Not the lips.
not the no.
Ooh,
Well, hello. Welcome to the Girls Club. Period.
okay.
Period.
We are here to have a good time. We are some good time having people. Hello to everyone. Shout
Hello.
out to Jane Hancock. Are you still here? Look at you. Look at all of y'all in
This is me
here. Oh
concentrating.
my goodness. I love this. Hi, y'all. What is going on? Me and Amber have a lot to say.
We do.
Honestly, like we have phone calls. And this is gonna be like y'all being on FaceTime with us.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm
it's
excited we get into it and talk about touring and our experiences. I think there's a lot of misconceptions with artists and touring and like all the logistics and things that go into it.
yes.
So I'm excited to set the record straight. I feel like I'm on an interview at the Breakfast Club. I'm here to set the record straight. I heard y'all been on TMZ talking about this. Y'all really know this. So yeah,
Don't really know.
I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. So to give you guys just a little background on Amber and how we know each other and everything. So Amber and I were introduced by our mutual friend who goes by the name of Zyah Belle. As we have known each other for a hell long. And I started managing Zyah in like 2021.
Yeah.
And from the jump, just Amber was always there. And so even when I started my company and stuff, it just always made sense to like do things with Amber because you're there, you're knowledgeable, you have your own experience in the music industry. Like I think people don't consider growing up like as the music director of a choir or something like experience, but what more experience is there than putting on a live performance every Sunday?
Yes.
Like what?
For our Heavenly Father, who is the most important judge and juror and fan you could
The
ever
light of
have.
my
Okay, the pressure,
life.
people don't
Okay.
understand that the pressure of church, singing, and musicianship, that is like the breeding ground of
Talk about it.
greatness. And anyone that I know that was brought up in the church and have any type of like parenting and leadership or parents that were musical directors and stuff, the type of pressure you were under and just the standard of excellence that you had to bring every week was like the bar was high. So being born and raised
Yeah.
into that and having a father who was a very talented musician and really taught me everything I know about the music industry and like work ethic, like now that I'm older, it made sense. Growing up, I was like, I don't know what all this is for. And I thought I was possibly going to be a singer and like, Beyonce. And I was like, I'm not doing that. But it all kind of like came together within management. And so now it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. When okay, come on, Victoria Monet Jaguar merch.
Her story,
Ooh.
her story really inspires me. Her story with how she met her manager, and how her manager took a chance on her. Her being from Sacramento, her really being in the industry for 15 years, and I've always known of
Right.
Victoria Monet, and
Right.
then just kind of her publicly getting her flowers. But the fact that it took her that long
Right.
to that, it's just very realistic. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing her merch today
Yeah.
as inspiration.
Manifesting the
Yes,
same for your own artist from the
yes,
Sacramento area who similarly has been doing this for 10 plus years and is still seen as an emerging
yeah,
artist, which is so crazy. Like it's just like, what does this even mean? But I feel like Victoria Monet winning best new artist, I feel like you said, like it's like let's like kind of manage our expectations.
hmm
Like everybody is not like fucking Ice Spice,
hmm
like goes viral and at the Grammys the next year. Shit,
yeah,
everybody's not even Tyla
yeah,
goes viral and is doing all the like it's just that's not everyone's
yeah.
ascension. And like for people who work in the music industry to know who Victoria Monet is, like that's even the inspiration behind her calling her projects
Yeah.
Jaguar is because she always felt like she was behind the scenes, and with a Jaguar you don't like see them and you don't hear them until it's
There.
like too late. Like
Yeah.
until they're like pouncing on you,
Yeah.
so
And it definitely felt like she had her pouncing year because it was like everywhere. You're seeing her, and I'm like, that's so crazy because we've always known her, but like the visibility
right.
factor just kind of like boomed this year. So like it's crazy because it can happen, but sometimes it takes some time.
And it takes a lot of work. work, and let's not forget about the work that she did on her
Yeah.
own, like independently.
Yeah.
And you know, like her manager leaving Keep Cool as an A&R, and because that's how they met each other. Was,
Right.
you know, Rochelle was an A&R for Keep Cool, and she did a feature with Lucky Day and Victoria Monet, and so that's how they like came across each other. So I'm like, ooh, was that binder was probably for a pitch to RCA proper, because I don't see why Keep Cool wouldn't sign Victoria Monet. But hey, you know, some people don't take
Happen.
chances they should
Yeah.
immediately. So
And now look at it. Look at me now.
period. She always knew. But I also, honestly, I want to keep it 1,000% real. I feel like a huge difference between Jaguar and Jaguar 2 and any of her projects and things before is she was trying to be a pop artist.
Hmm.
And then she transitioned and said, you know what, I'm just gonna be like real
Yeah.
R&B, like real R&B, get into my R&B bag, tap into my R&B fan base. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and when she did, we welcomed her with open arms. We were like, yes, we love this, you
I
know?
think she
Like,
found like even more of her voice, and then it just kind of like meshed into this world. And now to me, like even though she is R&B, like she has like this. It's like Victoria Monet has her own world that she takes us in within the R&B, umbrella, and I love that. I love that for her.
right? I do too. It's nice. It's really great to see.
And her husband, fine. She went it all over. All right.
Right?
I said, baby girl,
Somebody
you
said
got.
something. They were like, one thing about girls who like girls, if they gonna be with a man,
They're gonna be fine.
he gonna be fine.
Yeah.
He gonna be a pretty one.
Yeah. I need to take notes on that clearly. I'm like, Lord, okay. I'm manifesting my Grammy because I'm like, she won a Grammy and then goes home to a Grammy. I'm like, baby, you're winning all
Not
across
goes
the board.
home. He's
All
a
across the
trophy.
board. He's a trophy. I mean, they're the most beautiful people I've ever seen together. And I'm like, okay, A, God is real. B, how did that happen? Their story, everything. I was supposed to be Wendy Williams, so I'm always knowing like the tea and the gossip of things.
Ooh.
But he fine, she fine, they all fine. The baby fine. I'm like,
The
Lord.
baby fine. Everyone. Okay, so I think that was, I mean, that was pretty much a good backstory. We can jump into the touring of
Okay.
things and, you know, our first two tours. So, I know with our first tour together, it was the Marigold tour, and
Yes.
Zyah had the West Coast dates. She was opening up for
Alex Isley.
Alex Isley, and it came through Femme It Forward, and it came through Femme It Forward in like
Yeah.
April is
Yeah.
when
And we,
we
we
first
got like
off.
we got because I have all of it pulled up because I'm annoying. I have all my little emails. So like we got the official email, I believe in like Aprilish May, like May 4th. So like right after April. And then that was I think also around the time we were doing the big show in Inglewood. So like
Oh,
those were like two different sides of like communication. But yeah, we got like Heather Lowry, Miss Lowry, she's amazing. Shout out to her. Emailed you, CC'd me, and then we got Danny on the loop. And our dates were August 10th through the 18th, which
hmm,
is San Francisco, San Diego, Phoenix, and Houston. And that was like our first like official tour offer, and that was
yes.
like amazing.
Yes. But I mean, can't bypass the Inglewood show, because the Inglewood show was a venue of like 400 people,
Yeah,
and we had live instrumentation because Zyah has put down the groundwork and has a community of artists and a band and people in Los Angeles. So anytime she performs in the Los Angeles area, you're most likely to see her with a band.
yeah.
If you see her anywhere else, she's probably going to have a DJ if we're lucky, and a background vocalist again if we're lucky.
Hey, look, if the fun's fun, because that is all an expense. And I think that a lot of times when people see the performance and they see a tour, they don't realize how much of this is an expense and an investment.
Right.
Most artists are not actually making money from the tour. It's about visibility and the selling of a product, whether it's promoting their album, their single, supporting someone else for more visibility with what they're about to drop,
Yeah.
and then of course like merch. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but yeah, so that's like, yeah.
No, yeah. Girl, I mean, we have an outline, but this is just like a conversation. I
Yeah.
have an outline because I have ADHD and I can go off on tangents, and I need to like like I need to
I'm
be in
literally getting like I have the outline in front of me to make sure I'm like, okay, let's stay on track, stay on
right,
topic, stay
right,
on topic.
right.
But what I will say is like we got connected And then from there, we jumped into like the logistics of what it was going to look
Hey,
like. So whenever you have,
Courtney, shout out to Zyah Belle's DJ.
woo, 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 DJ Corvette, pew, pew,
Okay.
pew, pew, pew. DJ
Nice
Red,
to
yes,
see you driving a
sir.
car.
I miss you. Oh my God. Oh, and so whenever whenever we get a show offer or, tour, the first thing I'm thinking about is like what we want this show to look like.
Yeah.
And within that, what we want the show to look like, we start the process of building it out. Depending on what the budget allows, that's how we know like where we can go within the show. And so for this run, we had a DJ instead of a live band because that also costs money.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you see who's ever there, costs. The background vocalist, the production coordinator, the production manager, someone opening up the curtain. These are all bodies of people who need to be fed, who need to be housed, who need to be flown or driven to and from. Those are bills. And so I think initially we were like, okay, what are we making from the show? Which wasn't, a high dollar amount. How much time do we have in the show? And then like where are we performing? And then that's kind of how we built out what the show was going to look like. And
Yeah.
then that's where you came in to build out a budget. And baby, the budget. So I want to list through like typically the expenses of like, everything that goes on
Oh,
for a live
hey,
performance.
Martin. Okay, rhythm and vibes. What's
Vibes, period. Hey.
up?
Shout out, congrats on your South by Southwest show.
Okay.
So
Oh my
proud of
gosh, I'm
you.
so excited. I cannot
That's
wait
gonna
to see who's
be
performing with you.
amazing. Chef's Kiss, we appreciate all your support. So for this one, for our show, we had a DJ, background vocalist, and then from there we also had programming, live tracks. So that was a fee, right? And then within the programming, we had a keyboard, a guitarist, bass, and drums. That all costs. And so that we could have that live performance feel, we got those tracks, but we're not performing with a band, but it still gives you that essence and that power. And so you feel like you're getting the band for half the cost.
Yeah.
That's one part, okay? And that's the budget alone. That's somebody's salary in a month, all right? Then we break down to people that we're having on the road with us. We got our artist, our DJ, our photo videographer, our background vocalist, and our manager.
Hmm.
Within that, they have per diems. So a per diem is
If
basically
you're lucky. This is
it's just snack money
all of this is very much if you're lucky, if you have funding.
if you
Like
have funding.
we had funding because we had a deal with indie record label Gwen.
Yes.
And so we were able to do all of this cool shit. And also because of Amber's experience, Zyah's experience in performing, they knew how to pull together these things. I think a lot of real like emerging artists, if they were to go on their very first tour, they wouldn't even know how to make a performance track. They don't even know what a performance track is.
Yeah.
Like they just think like, oh, I just have to perform to like an instrumental version of my songs. And sometimes they don't even have background vocals on those. You
Yeah.
know? So I like this is all very much like if you can afford to do so, like this is what you can do on your first tour. But this is can also be like inspiration of like what you can be working towards if you don't have funding, if you're getting it out of the mud, and if you have the blessing to be,
Yeah.
asked to go on a tour with someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think as well, like, because it's crazy how God works because the timing was I had just gotten off of doing the tour management boot camp with Ebony Gentry, who was at the time Doja Cat's tour manager, Gallant, like a lot of folks,
Yeah.
and she still does that and she's amazing and talented. So
Right.
I had learned a lot through project managing that boot camp and I met a lot of folks. And so from there, I kind of already had it in the back of my head of okay, I kind of have the fundamentals and that I can pull from to how this tour should be. But
Right.
I think as well the caliber of artists is also an important factor because Zai is not going to do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
That's not excellence is the thing for her. So we already knew even if we're doing it on like a smaller level, there still has to be a level of excellence. So like okay, we couldn't afford a band, we gonna get them live tracks because the quality we still did not want to sacrifice the quality of performance
Right.
just because of the budget. And so we did what we had to do.
Yeah.
Um
And
and
every artist is different, but I think that since Zyah has so much performing experience, she is not scared to have these kind of live performance tracks and all of that. Like she knows that that even exists from like
Yeah,
touring and all of those kinds of things. And not to diss anyone who can't afford to get live performance tracks, but when Zyah performs, she wants to give you something different than what you can just press
yeah.
play to. It's like you came to a live show, so she wants to do something like live and special for you. And so that for her includes like the live instrumentation, whether the band's in the building or not.
Yeah, you're gonna get the band whether they're there or not. And then as well, it's an investment back to the investment factor because you can use
Yeah,
those tracks for other things. It's
right.
not just for that. And so then you invest it in yourself. And now, okay, whenever I'm whatever show I want to do, depending on my set, I already have a live performance. I have my performance tracks already, and so I may not have to hire a band for this one, but I still have that support. And
Yeah.
so breaking it down to like the bodies that are on the road and per diems. Per diems is what I like to call snack money. It's the money that you technically give the folks so they can buy themselves, some lunch or something like that. Technically, it's professional when you do have bodies and you're bringing them on the road to give them a per diem because the fact, they need to take care of themselves, they need to eat, they may need, to get something from CVS. That's just kind of like production Bible, production standard. Um, your first indie tour, you may not have that support, you may not have that financing to be able to kind of do things like that. But I always put that as a rule of thumb, so I know no matter what, I may not have it now, but that's the standard of where I want to go when I do hire and I'm working with external vendors. Then from there, we broke down the budget to hotels. Yeah, hotels, so
Yeah.
expensive. It's so expensive. And you know what? What the things that were happening that we didn't really know until, it happens, like
Right.
holds. Little things like holds on the
Yeah.
account. Like, oh crap, they're not gonna charge you right from the jump for the hotels, but they're gonna come out like a week later.
Mhm.
And you're like, what is this $1,000, this $2,000 coming out of the corporate card? Like, what is this? You're like, oh, these are all the holds from the hotel.
Right.
And you're thinking that the money's already out and it's not. So also being cognizant of like not just looking at the budget tracker, but also if you are dispersed funds from like your label or whatever your investor, like tracking that financially, like, hey, this is where we are. Like this is what it's tracking to be. This hasn't come out yet. This is our actual. Um, yeah. What else?
Well, we don't have to go line by line for all of the things, all of the logistics and all of that kind of stuff, but I really want to know like what were some challenges during like the preparation phase? Like I don't know, I feel like I have bad memory. Like I block out any of any of the trials and tribulations that we
Yeah.
went before we actually got on the road.
I
But
think
I mean, definitely finding a sprinter, that was like a challenge because like everybody doesn't rent sprinters and you don't want to just get it from anyone. What's another thing that you can think of?
sprinters, I think that, just to be honest, but keep it cute, we're having some not internal conflict, but like working with, who we're assigned with, the explaining the needs of things.
Oh, right.
I know there was some like conflict there. The sprinter merch, with who, merch vendors of like tracking that and making sure like we had enough merch and like where that was going to be stored and how we were going to actually ship the merch. Like I don't know why that was something that I just did not think about. I was really focusing on the bodies of people, but I think it was like I don't know if it was 3 days before or 4 days. You had said something about okay, so the merch bags are gonna go with you on the plane. I was like, what? You're like yes, you see, like we have to ship the merch. Like that's gonna cost like those are baggage fees. And I don't know why in my head I could not compute that the merch bags were gonna have to come with me. And that is really small, but that shit stressed me out. I was like, damn, I
Oh,
got my bags, I got the merch bags. I'm looking at everybody else's bags. I'm like, that's $25, $50,
oh
$25,
my
that's $100. I'm
bag
like,
fees.
bag
Oh my
fees.
gosh.
I don't know why that was like an afterthought, but like I'm like, oh, that's a contingency. That's like we had to make room for that. Little things. Do you remember when we got the Sprinter and we were in San Francisco and we didn't think about where we were gonna park the Sprinter?
No.
I thought I was
in
like,
San Fran fucking Cisco too. Like, bruh, you could not just park this on the street. Like, if you do park on the street, you're gonna have to wake up at 4 a.m. because you're gonna only have so much time to park
and then
there. Like,
also like depending because it was a certain height, like legally you can't park certain type of buses on the street. It has to be like in a commercial space. And so we were driving, and I don't. We were like, where are we gonna park the car? We're gonna park the Sprinter, and so we had to park it in a garage that was like what $40 a night or something crazy.
yeah.
It was
No, it
not
was like
cheap.
70. It was like
Oh yeah, no, it was high, and we were all like, and then I don't think it was
contingency.
contingencies. I don't think it was either. I also don't think it was in and out privileges. Like I don't think
Oh
we could
yeah.
have.
So
Yeah. It was
yeah,
like at each time
dogs,
we
Uber everywhere. When you parked the car, it was parked. It's not fucking leaving. Like, it's staying there.
were like, okay, so this car
AJ
is gonna stay here.
Claire. Oh my gosh, you
Hi,
guys.
girl. She
AJ
was
is
our background vocalist
beautiful.
on tour, and
Very
that was lovely.
check out her music. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Butter. 8 years.
it was that the Sprinter being parked. I was like, what? What do you mean $70? Okay, another cost a night. And so then we were like, okay, well then it's gonna be cheaper to keep it in there instead of moving in and out. So we're gonna have to walk or Uber it to the
Oh,
venue. Luckily,
oh my god.
due to
We're
and
definitely
this is
walking
this
that.
is the routing portion of like of touring.
Right.
Luckily, because we knew where the venue was, we routed the hotel, the airport. We routed it in a way to where it would be, accessible. But sometimes it does cost more to be closer to the venue. But like in hindsight, it'll cost more trying to travel from the venue if you're super far out. So if
Right.
you can and you have the budget, like try to get something as close to the venue as you can, and then from there,
Like San Diego, our hotel was right next to the House of Blues. That was
that was
fucking perfect.
incredible. That was so perfect. That shit happened so perfectly. And I remember like, and at the time my dad had died, and so that was like an added layer of like stress because my dad had died like 3.5 weeks before we were going on tour. And I remember I was like, okay, am I gonna continue to do this or am I gonna like not go on tour? And I remember my mom was like, no, you have to do it. Your dad would have wanted you to. She even shifted the funeral date up so that I can make the tour. And I was like, okay, and then having these little stresses did not compare to the grief, but also like I was so adamant about doing this shit no matter what. And so when things started falling into place, like the venue was right around the hotel was right around the corner. I was like, oh, like those little things just felt so good. And then the food wasn't too far away. Like
Everything. You
everything
walk
was it
everywhere.
was so convenient.
Yeah. Like fucking Corvette had like an after party in
Oh
San
my God,
Diego.
I forgot about that.
That was the fucking night. The booze, the fucking food in the back row. Ooh, and
We
oh my
was
gosh, if you
partying,
DJ Red Corvette, she is talented as fuck.
talented
Oh my
as
god.
hell. We
Oh
was
my god.
partying for real. We was really outside.
Yeah.
I remember when I was talking to Ebony and we were doing the tour boot camp, and she said, no matter how tired you are, go to the party. Go to
Go
the
to the
go to the
party.
party. Go to the bar and meet up with the band. Have
Yeah.
that drink. She said because those memories, no matter that you're exhausted, you're gonna remember that forever. And even though I was dog faced tired, I was like, I'm going to the party because I'm gonna remember this after being exhausted from doing the show and touring. But the party and the memories you make, just fellowshipping with everybody, like you'll never forget that shit. So no matter how tired you are, still go to the after party.
Amen. Fellowship. The fellowship is very like, yeah, it's so needed. Yeah.
What
And I
else? What else stressed you out or like was like during the touring process?
I mean, even just like highlights from the tour, like good stuff. I mean, something that stressed me out. I mean, I think definitely like Riley getting there because he met us in San Francisco.
Oh,
And, some people are incompetent and cannot make it from the airport to the venue. So, like,
Riley, Riley was so competent that we were like, oh Riley, you're like our angel, because he literally
right.
was like, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna do this, don't worry, because I
So
think
self sufficient.
yeah, so self sufficient and was like, all right, I'm in San Francisco, and then I'm like, okay, I'm in Sacramento, but I'm going to Uber you from the airport to the hotel, and then we're gonna meet you there. I'm like.
Just
just
fucking
it's the mathematics of
yeah,
it all. But then like seeing the magic is like where it's like, oh,
yeah.
nigga, we made it for
That
real.
fucking budget too, man. Oh my god.
Oh man, it's shit like you don't think something's gonna be too expensive until you start adding everything up, and you're like, but these are like we need a plane ticket. We need to stay somewhere. We
Right.
need to eat. I'm sorry that it's costing $12,000, but these are I can't not have that. I can't not have that. And also, we're not going to take a sprinter from Los Angeles to Houston. Like we're gonna fly there. Like
Right.
what?
What the fuck? Like we're
We're
not driving everywhere.
not driving. Also, drivers. We had you, but technically if the budget, hire a driver because your homie should not be driving. Shout out to Jazzy, and you did such a great
Thank
job. But I was like, damn,
you. I mean, you
I
don't
wish
have
we could.
no, don't hire a driver. That's just an added expense,
But
bro. Like
who wants to act? But driving a Sprinter, and this could be the mom in me, even though I'm not a mother. I'm like, oh my god, that's a huge piece of cargo. You need to go to college. Like you need to have the driver's license
you
to
need to
drive a Sprinter.
see
You
commercial
need
life.
to see a commercial license. And then Victor drove from LA to San Diego
Oh,
or San Francisco. Was San Francisco? And then we got into LA
bro,
and then we drove.
it saved my life because we were only one show in and I was already tired, but it was a lot because it
It was
was
a
like
lot.
driving from LA to San Francisco back down to San Diego.
Yeah.
Like, did we do the LA show? We did the LA. Wait,
Wait,
was also we
hold
didn't
on.
do an LA show because we did San Francisco, San
Yeah, we did
Diego.
San
The
Francisco,
LA
San
show
Diego,
before
Phoenix, and
that
Houston.
Keen opened for Alex Isley. It wasn't
Yes.
us.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean that I was we were one show in and I was already exhausted because of all the work that came like because it was one show in, but we had been rehearsing for a week. But you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like all of this kind of stuff.
And,
And even
and
I will never forget, like one day we were in Phoenix. Phoenix was pretty nice. That was actually
I felt like it was like I loved
yeah,
Phoenix. I loved the sauna heat. Like it was cool being able to walk outside and be like 90 degrees and just be in a tank top.
yeah.
Like I loved
Place
Phoenix.
where we could walk to the venue too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was nice. But yeah, no, I remember we were doing so much and me and you shared rooms I think pretty much the
Yeah.
whole tour and we were just doing so much and I remember just asking you like oh like hey what's wrong and you just looked up and you had your sunglasses on you're like my fucking dad died and I'm like gee fuck yes
Sorry.
like and I'm like god damn like because like that was
Yeah,
fresh that just fucking happened
that
you
was.
get over that in a week 2 weeks 3 weeks a month like no like so
What was crazy was because my dad's funeral was in New Orleans. The day after was when we had the San Francisco because there was a break. Remember, because it started. It was like the 10th and the 12th, and the 16th and the 18th.
right
So there was that break after San Diego, and then I believe I did the Phoenix. Wait, am I talking about Alex? No. Alex Isley was the tour that my dad died. Not yeah, because we were in Phoenix. Yes.
yeah
Okay. Sorry. My brain just went. Everything's burned together. But I remember when we went from San Francisco, I was in Sacramento because I had just came from New Orleans for my dad's last funeral, and
right
I took the train from Sacramento to San Francisco, and I met y'all there, and I was just like, that was like the hardest day of my entire life, but it was the most beautiful day because I got to be with y'all in this grieving process of coming fresh from a funeral, but it just showed like how dedicated I was to this,
yeah
and like it took my mind off of it. So when I was sitting down and I was like, my fucking dad died, and I was like, that's so harsh now that I'm thinking about it. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm on tour. My dad is dead, and I'm just like, I guess I'm sad now that we have like
when you
some
get a second to breathe and like because at that point Phoenix we were halfway through the tour
yeah.
this was the second leg and at first I don't think we knew if you were going to come for the second leg
Hmm.
and after that first leg I was like please like I was like oh my god it's so much people it's so many things it's so much and fucking Houston the rain in Houston like the poor
I don't
had it. I was like, do we need Ubers to and from? And Riley was like, just walk. Like it's okay to walk in the rain.
like the Houston. rain and then randomly just raining and then things flooding because Houston's so flat. So everything was just randomly flooding around us, and we were like, we cannot call an Uber to go a block and a half up. Like it was, we were only a block away,
Right.
and we were like, okay, jacket, and we were just like walking in heels and stuff like that. It was so funny, like just covering ourselves in heels to the House of Blues in Houston, and just like.
At least
Just like this
old.
gushing of rain, but that was the venue that we got upgraded to, right? Because the ticket
Yes.
sales.
Yes. We got upgraded to a bigger room in Houston. So the love in Houston was real. That was, yeah, that was nice.
I think Houston was like one of my favorite, like, not what are they, audiences.
Mm,
They were super interactive, and I remember when we were doing the electric slide for D&D, and everybody was in it, and like that was just like such a heart like warming moment. I was like, oh, it was all right there because like look at this, it's just so nice. Like everybody's just together. Like I just love this. So
yeah.
yeah. Oh, what
You
other highlights do you
all
have?
over. Because you had a family in Houston. We
Yep.
went to New York. We were at your cousin's house. Like you
Oh
just
my
have
God.
family everywhere.
I totally forgot about that because I didn't go to New York because I was like, I'm tapped out on the traveling. I need to like, I'm still in grief, so I'll take my second. I'll take a moment because that was for India, right? When you
No,
guys did
New
New
York
York?
was Fashion Week, and then India Sean was in like October.
Jeez,
It was like end of September, top of October. Alex Isley was mid August, and then between the two tours, she released her album.
that was a busy year. That was a real busy year now that I'm thinking about it. And yeah, you were with my cousin in New York because he also styled for New York Fashion Week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a little bit of piece of family everywhere. My cousins lived too far for us to stay with them, but they ended up coming, and they loved the show. That's why I think it's, excuse me, it's good to travel and have family because you can really use them as resources when you're touring because it takes a village to tour too. Like it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to get to travel with God's children to and from.
Honestly. So if you had to do the tours over again with the budget that we had, what would you do differently?
I would plan for um like con- what's that word?
Contingencies.
Contingencies a little bit more. Um, I feel like we really did the best we could with what we had. Like, because even when I'm thinking about scaling it back, I'm like, I wouldn't scale anything back. It's like to me, we were just of standard. Um, that
But when we did the India Sean tour, we did have to scale back.
yes, and but we lucked out because I feel like that one was like we had some family we stayed with on the west side, west coast. Well, I stayed with my aunt. You stayed with your sister in the Bay, right?
Right.
And then so we used our community for that.
Yeah.
Um, we were able to we use our cars. Did you guys use cars to travel down to the Bay? I don't remember. Or we flew.
No, I think we flew everywhere for India Sean. I think the budget
Yeah,
was like all about like travel.
flying. But yeah, that was it, and
It was
everything else was
travel,
kind of figured out.
travel, food, hotels, yeah. And still for 6 cities for hotels and for travel and all of that stuff for two people,
Yeah.
$10,000. Like,
It's still it's not cheap. Touring is not cheap. Touring is an investment. I think having that in front of mind, I would do that because I feel like I was affected by things like emotionally that was like that's just the nature of the business. That's
mm,
just the nature of the business. I think I would have appreciated merch a lot more. I used to not really care for merch because it felt like retail and I'm triggered by retail and I was like, I don't get it until I got behind the merch table and started selling merch. I understood the importance of it because how much money you make just by sitting down and selling a t-shirt and a hat.
yeah,
And I was like, there's never going to be a point in time where I'm going to object to bringing merch or selling it because I made $500 more than what our take home was
yes,
sitting down for 30 minutes and talking to people
right.
and telling them that I take Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, and
Oh
PayPal.
my gosh.
Like I was like, oh
Fame
yeah,
in San Diego, it was so hot. Our
The fans,
fans were flying off the
the
table. Yeah.
fans, man, the fans.
Yeah.
I think,
That's such creative merch to have a church fan. Like, oh my gosh. I
and
love
those things sell out every time we bring those church fans. They sell out
oh
like every time.
yeah.
I think I as well. I would have taken more time to be in the moment. I think because it was our first tour, I was so stressed about not of things not falling apart and making sure that it went
Yeah.
smoothly. And like like even though Zyah is my best friend, like she's still a
Right.
client. So there's a level of wanting to impress her to make sure that she felt safe and confident in my abilities to also do a tour. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of pressure on me. That was just me being an Aries, and so it definitely affected me being in the moment more because I just wanted everything to run so smoothly, and I was so anxious the whole time, and I hate that because I hate that I was anxious the
Mm,
whole time. There was not a piece of time unless I was asleep, and even when I was asleep, I was afraid I was going to be late to something, or late to sound check, or late to our flight, and I was just like, just shoulders up, just like, because I don't want anything to go wrong. I don't want somebody to miss their flight. So I would do that differently. I think that this next go around, because I did it before, I won't be so like tied to everything.
yeah.
But everything was so extreme. It felt like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like, yeah.
What would you say is the difference between festival performances and touring performances?
I feel like I feel like festivals, unfortunately, are more unorganized from my experience. I feel like festivals are kind of chaotic, are pretty chaotic, and everything is piecemeal. And I think that's the difference. Like, I feel like with touring, it's a little bit more of a structure, and you're going through a true like advancing process, because also you're dealing with venues and their production staff, so like the communication is a lot different. There's also language and terminology that's kind of transferable to every space and depending on everything. Festivals are like on edge, you late, getting shit the day of, your call time is being changed, your performance time is being changed. You're gonna get asked 48 hours before to go to a different state if you want to change your set time, as if you did not pay tickets and stuff for everybody. Um, yeah, I was like, oh, we can't. Festivals, I feel like you need to just be ready for whatever,
Yeah.
because also shared green rooms, festivals, like you may not even have a green room.
Right.
Like festivals are kind of like you at the festival, so be proud to be here, baby. Like and because there's so many people, like the lineup, it's like it's like a hustle. Like you just have to like have a backpack and just you're getting in the mud. So that's what I've noticed between like festivals and like touring. That's how they differ to me. I feel like I have to have a different hat when I'm doing a festival versus a tour.
Yeah. Because I feel like with festivals, their production team is worried about so many different factors that, like, at venues, you don't have to worry about. At venues, people perform there every
Yeah,
night. Like, it's clock. We do this every fucking night.
yeah,
When you're doing festivals, it's like all of that work has been put into that one day. So we have to think about the fair rides and the people and the like whatever, like all of the stuff that's going on.
security, bathrooms, like food. Like they're like, girl, okay, your performance, but we trying to make. I'm like, oh, okay.
Pack House was pretty fun.
Oh, that
I
was
liked
fun.
Pack House. That was a fun
That was
festival. I was happy to
fun.
see you guys there. It was like a little reunion
I
backstage and
know Pack House
guys.
was so much fun. Shout out to Crystal. She really held that shit like down and was such a great communicator. Of course, I was in my Aries of like wanting to get everything like, oh, and they're like, girl, you'll get it the night before. And I remember, I think I even have a picture of me, like I have a bonnet on and everybody's at my house, and AJ comes over and she gonna text me. She's like, do you have food? And I'm like, yeah, girl, I got meatloaf, rice, mashed potatoes, peas, and carrots in the refrigerator. Go eat. And I'm on the computer waiting for the email for like our ROS and everything with a bonnet and glasses on. And they all walk in. Everybody and the girls were like, I'm the wrong one to call. Woo, we go to the festival.
Right.
Contact everyone. And I'm just like, just everybody has their little corridors and they're excited. Everybody's over my house and I'm literally on edge. And then you can see me when the email comes through and I'm like, boom. And I'm like going through and then I'm like screenshotting certain details so I can put it in a separate email to everybody else. And everybody's like, you're crazy, bitch. Why are you like this? Literally, I need you to take a breather. We're going to get Starbucks in the morning. We're going to be fine. Like, and I'm just like waiting for the email. But Pack Fest, like, that was a beautiful experience. I also feel like they treated us so well. Like the artist lounge, like the bar, that was so
Oh,
tipsy.
the bar.
The
The
bar.
bar, the food. And then when the food ran out, they brought more
They
food.
brought more food.
Like, and we literally everyone we toured with, Alex Isley, India Shawn, they were all there. Kenyon Dixon was there. Like, it was so
That
many.
was
It was a vibe.
that was beautiful for her to have toured with them and then be performing on like the same stages. That was like a very like come to Jesus, everything aligned moment. And we did, yeah. So it was the Lamert Park Festival, Pack Fest, and then Soul Bloom, all in one
How so
year.
blue. Tell me all about it.
Soul Bloom was amazing, great experience, a lot of details to kind of get that, get that going. Our set, we were going back and forth because we wanted to use a band, but we also share a band with Brent Fayez. So Timmy and the guys
Oh,
also played for Brent, and we wanted them so bad. So we wanted the date that Brent performed. I think he was like the 20th or the weekend before us, and we couldn't get it. So
oh,
we were like, okay, that's fine. Well, we're gonna have our DJ, all good.
right.
Then 48 hours before, they're like, you want to change the date and go to, and you could have Brent. And we're like, and I was trying to figure out how we can make it work because I really wanted the band. And we were like, sorry, we already bought tickets and like we kind of already started the
It's
the process.
yeah.
They were like, we're sorry, some things had changed, things happen. I'm like, okay. And so we ended up doing it. That was my first Soul Bloom, and I'm not gonna lie, I had never seen that many bodies of people in one area.
Ooh.
Soul Bloom, like, and then you would look up and there was like seas of more people. And I was just like, how is there like a million people here right now? And there really was. Like, I looked up and so I was like, oh, bitch. I was like, there is so many people. And we just started laughing. I was like, oh my God. And so Zaya's walking with her fan and everybody's like, Zaya, Zaya, Zaya,
This is
pulling at her. And
Sacramento, the
because
love
exactly
I'm talking about.
the love was so real. And then I looked over to Victor, and Victor's like, "We gonna need security soon." And I'm like, "Yeah, we gonna need security soon." Because what my little ass doing in the front?
You look, you been on the security from the top.
Ben Ben had hundreds. Ben wanting security. I was like, we gonna need security because
Okay.
everybody pulling at my girl. But Soul Bloom was such a great experience. I think that was a good like stepping stone for even larger festivals. Soul Bloom is still to me their track record. I feel like they're tracking to be like the next Coachella when it comes to just like the type of artists that they're having on their lineups,
Right.
how many people come, what they offer in Soul Bloom. They also had an artist lounge and a bar, and that was really nice. It treated us really, really well. We had a green room that was like a trailer, and so it gave like RV camp, which I
Oh my
loved. I'm like, oh my God, we're
You have
camping.
your own trailer? Like,
Yeah, I
what?
know. That was so nice.
Yes.
I was like, oh, you're so special. That was so cool. Yeah, we did have a time stamp on there, which made sense. You can't stay in the trailer the whole day. But it was cool to be in there and her to have that experience of like being like, just another level of her treatment and being technically on the main stage. So she was a, what do they call them? Not an opener, a
Headliner?
headliner. Using
Not
words.
opener, the other one.
It's the other one. It's the other one. So that was good. I think that was a great like to have on her performance resume. So now it was like, oh, we did this festival, we did this, we did that. But Soul Bloom was. I'm happy we ended
Room,
our
bitch.
little festival run like with Soul Bloom. I think that was great, and especially for the city,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite festival you ever did?
Ooh, my favorite festival I ever did was Life is Beautiful in Las Vegas because
Ooh,
it was It was the kickoff for Gallant's tour with Sabrina Claudio. And so
Oh,
I got
okay.
to ride on the tour bus from like LA to Vegas. Like that
I
was
know
like
that was
real,
fun.
real toury. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I was on that tour with Ebony, and it's really great to have someone who's experienced to take care of all the touring stuff, and all I have to worry about is the fucking artist. Yeah,
You're like,
like
this is a
luxury.
breath of fresh air.
Luxury.
Luxury.
And see, I didn't realize it at the time, but I don't know, that's how God works with me. Like my whole career has been like starting with Wiz Khalifa, who was like legendary
Yeah.
artist, going to Doja Cat, who was like a viral artist who then transformed into an international pop icon. At the same time, working with artists like Aaron Ray and Gallant, who aren't emerging, they're established, but they still aren't like, you know,
Yeah.
on radio every day or whatever, so they're still working towards stuff. And then having the experience with even Van Jess, who was at a joint venture with a major label. You know,
Yeah.
they were at Keep Cool. My experience with them, now I'm on a first name basis with the CEO of Def Jam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God really just moves and puts different things together. And then going out on my own and starting No Conformity and having Zyah and having a independent artist with a record label that I felt like I almost had more experience than.
Hmm.
Um, that yeah, crazy experience. But yeah, no, my favorite festival is Life is Beautiful in Vegas, because I like me, Timmy, Trey, like we bonded while we were in Vegas. Like after that, like we were drinking and we saw like Post Malone, and
Oh,
you know, like I had to make sure that everybody got back to the hotel safely, because it was like, okay, if the band wants to stay, someone
yeah.
has to stay,
Yeah.
you know, like, and went with Gallant and stuff. And so that advice that you were saying earlier, that's real. That's so true. Like always have the fun, because that's what I remember about Life is
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's
Yeah.
us having fun at the actual festival after the
The
performance.
drunk
Like,
nights and all that. Like when we did India Shawn in LA at the Roxy,
yeah,
which that was like such a fun time because then Zai brought out Tempest, brought out Jane Hancock, and then after we went to the Dime, and I was like, damn, this was so much fun. I got to connect with everybody. It's those memories. Exhausted though, hair, hat on, lace lifting, but like you're there to do the job, and you meet these connections, and you realize how small the music and entertainment industry really is, and that's why you should be mindful of how you treat people and how you talk to people, because you're gonna see these motherfuckers again, and you don't know in what capacity you are. That's why you always treat people with the level of respect, because I may be this person now, but you don't know what I'm gonna be
right.
tomorrow.
And reputation means a lot.
Yeah.
It really means a lot. And I am fortunate enough, like I can say like I have had like a temper and a hothead and everything, but I'm fortunate enough that I do such good work that that's the reputation
Yeah.
that I have. When you
Yes.
talk about me, all people are going to talk to you about is my
Exactly.
work. And you know, I mean, it's not, I'm not squeaky clean. You know, I've I've had my
But
moments
your work
as
speaks
well.
for yourself, and like just like the amount of time that you put within this industry, which is a long time. I think that for me personally, I'm still working on that for myself, as like viewing myself as like, okay, Amber, you work in the music industry. This is your job, because I think that just kind of the way it happened, it was not just like the typical route of like, oh, I went out to college and went to school for it. I interned at Def Jam and this, and I was an assistant to so and so. Like my background was in retail and operations, and I kind of just like fumbled into this. And so I'm still working on like the confidence within myself to like, no, Amber, you're an artist manager. You're an artist manager. You manage artists. This is what you do. Because there's sometimes where I play myself a little bit too small, and then I'm having calls with you and I'm talking about everything that I've done. I'm like, oh, well, bitch, hold on now. You did this, and you did this, and you did that, and you
And
did that.
I want to encourage you, because I want you to know that everybody has different paths to find their way into music. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody woke up when they were 12 and wanted to be an A&R in the music industry and just like, you know, just like did a linear path there. So many people find their way into music. I found my way into music. I stumbled across the shit. It blows my mind that now I'm at the point that I have worked longer in music than I ever worked in TV, because being in TV was such a huge part of my identity.
Yeah,
That's what I went to school school for everything. You know what I'm saying? Even when I started doing music, I thought I would just try this out and I would just go back to TV and production eventually. And now this is my whole shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And it always blows my mind when I be like, oh, yeah, Jazzy was really on the set of the Kardashians. I don't know why that cracks me up. Because I'm like, Jazzy, for real, you've had like 18 lives.
right? Right, bruh. God be God it. And that's why I feel like I feel very blessed to have the career that I have. I feel blessed to have an independent company and to be able to like do things like this where it's like I can highlight women in the music industry because the music industry is small. Women executives is smaller. Women black women
Yeah,
executives even smaller. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like to be able to highlight us because there's so many of us doing so many things that people just don't see.
that's true.
Which, you know?
I do have a personal question. Has your NDA expired from when you was working on on the Kardashians? Because I want to know. Maybe that'll be another call. I want to know what that was like. You posted a few photos, I believe, a while ago
Yeah,
of you on set, and I was like, you really was there working your ass off on the Kardashians.
very much,
Like,
very
what
much. And
seasons were you
I
on?
was on seasons 10, 11, and 12. And I was also on the first season of I Am Kate. And I'm trying to think if I did like a Chloe and Courtney or Kim and whatever takes. I might have like day played on some of their, when
Yeah,
they had a whole universe where they had like all their little side shows and everything. And so they just kept the same crew because they wanted the same people around. Like, y'all not talking to the paparazzi. We can trust you guys. Like, let's go. And it sucks because right when I started getting on a first name basis with all the girls and Chris, because Chris don't learn people's names.
yeah.
And they decided to let me go because they wanted to pay a PA to do my job and they would have taken less money than
Well,
me. So
were you were you a
I was
production coordinator?
a coordinator on the Kardashians. I was a production coordinator, but leaving there gave me the opportunity to level up and become a talent manager on the challenge. And so that was, that led me, like, that's when I got to live in Colombia for 6 weeks, being a talent manager on the challenge and yeah, managing those contestants.
I
So
did not know that. I did not
you
know
didn't know
that.
that? Yeah.
No. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is great because I've been saying for the past year and a half that, like, okay, I'm going to start my reality show. I'm going to start my reality show, and I'm working on it. But like, that is my goal. Like, I want to produce a
Mhm.
reality show. So I'll talk to you I'll talk to you about that offline. But
Yeah,
all these
that
fun
is the
facts.
level of no conformity. Once I get this music shit locked in, I'm definitely having a production company. Cause guys, I could not create this content. I could not do any of this stuff without my television experience. Like honestly, I would probably get so burnt out and over it if I didn't have a love for video editing and if I didn't know how to do this. If me and like me and
Yeah,
you, this conversation is seamless. But sometimes I do this with people where, like I have to look them up and put on my reporter hat and all of that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And so when 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 people talk about God just like, setting things up, I really I believe in God wholeheartedly. I just cannot deny God in my life at all because like everything that I have done, every job that I've had, every hat that I have worn, from being in broadcast journalism to being in television production to being in, in being a fucking assistant for Wiz Khalifa's manager, everything. It has all led me to this. Like I have gotten so much experience and everything from that to be able to do what I'm doing now, which feels like a blessing. And even like I mean, I have an interview today at 1:30. Like I'm still not. It doesn't mean that I'm not working in the
yeah,
industry, but I think that it's beautiful that I have been able to make a company for myself so that I don't have to rely on the industry alone. Like the
yeah.
money is just adding to what I have created for myself. And I think that that's a blessing. And my filter is off and I'm mad about it because who told you to turn off?
Who told you you was naked? Who told you to turn the filter off? Not my. It's my computer dying, and I'm technically at work, which is hilarious. Which we're talking about. Like, I still have to work a job until this is like really, really bringing in the income that I need to sustain
Yeah.
fully. But I think that's a part of the grind. That's a part of the hustle. That's a part of the love of understanding, like, you eat what you kill together. The music industry isn't, if your artist isn't making money, you're not making money. It's not it's a long game. It's not something that, and it's a gamble. The music industry is probably one of the only industries where you can pour 210% and still only have $1 in your account. It does not mean that you're going to make it and become a millionaire and be taken care of and be self-sufficient. We have the faith in the world that our tools and that our experience will bring us that, but it does not mean that that will happen. You just
No
have to love it
guarantee.
enough.
Absolutely no guarantee. But guys, do you have any questions? We're about to close this out. Well, I mean, we can stay on here until maybe 1:15. I just want to jump off and change this for my interview because it says Maverick. And I feel like if you're
Oh,
interviewing
yeah.
like, from
You should,
another
yeah.
company.
And I gotta jump. I have to jump to get back to work and be a
Right.
professional. But
And
yeah, do you all have any questions?
yeah,
Anybody? My list
I
is
feel like
fat.
someone dropped a question. I was on my Instagram trying to find a question that someone had dropped earlier this week when I had asked that on my story,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't do that on your computer. And I only have one phone, so
I'm gonna look through the comments to see.
yeah. But even if you guys don't have any questions, I hope that you guys learned something today. I hope that you have just some practical tips and advice if you are an aspiring artist who has never done a performance, who has never been on tour. Like, social media is cool, but that is not the only way to promote yourself and your music. And performing live is one of the best ways to promote yourself. Because just like Amber said, you can be in an audience of hundreds of thousands of people and you have 20 minutes to convert them into fans. And you can walk away with thousands of fans after one
Yeah,
performance. Find that the skills that you learned from retail applied to being an artist manager.
none. No, I'm just kidding. I think because in retail, it's a lot of it's customer service and then like operations, depending on like what level. I think the skills that were applicable to management was communication, understanding how to work with people cross functionally, and like just navigating different personalities constantly. Um, Work ethic, because I feel like retail is like really, really molds and shapes people with work ethic because it's not always the funnest job. So I think that that helped me a lot. Communicating with people, meeting with different
Yeah,
personalities all the time,
it's
having to work crazy hours.
relationships is a huge thing in touring. Your relationships
Yeah,
with venues, your relationships with promoters, your relationships with fellow artists and their teams. Like, all of that is very huge.
I think, yeah, exactly. And like learning people. And because, sometimes working at Nordstrom, like you'll have your regulars that come in. And so it's good to know because this is so and so's name. Because then when I'm, at the Grammy week, I know this is the executive of this label. This is so and so's assistant. So just kind of having that like on the forefront and really being able to just do like hard work. And I think that just kind of retail shaped me a lot. And so a lot of times I'm running things of how I was if I was back at a Nordstrom or some type of like corporate entity.
Yeah, very much that. Whew, okay, y'all. It's
All
about
right.
5.
It's about that time.
Thank you,
Of of course.
so
Thank
much.
you.
This was fantastic. And for anyone who has any questions, you can always send them over. If you missed it, don't worry. I'll be doing a full replay on our YouTube later and cutting some cute clips. There's not enough hours in the day. I need help, but that's another live stream. So thank you
Thank
guys so much. We
you.
appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.